In less than 24 hours, Kansas City voters will head to the polls. Besides voting for who will lead our city, you'll be deciding whether or not tax incentives for developers could be capped.
Now, this all comes as development is exploding around the city. 41 Action News reporter Nick Starling joining us live to explain question one. Nick, break it down for us.
Well, it's easy to see how much has changed in downtown Kansas City as new buildings are here. Developers tell me this is not possible without some of those property tax exemptions. However, one group says that money can go elsewhere.
Kansas City's urban core is growing. From downtown as crews put the finishing touches to the Convention Hotel to the Crossroads. And even here in Brookside.
Nobody was investing in old buildings, they were going south. And so we had a huge vacancy.
Butch Rigby is a developer and invested in 63rd Street from Oak to Troost. He says 70% of the buildings were vacant. Now it's 100% occupied. Rigby says none of it would have been possible without some tax incentives.
If we didn't have a tax abatement tool available to us, we couldn't have done it. We would have lost money.
Question one will limit the amount the city can dish out in incentives to developers by setting a cap on property tax exemptions at 50%.
Lots of people don't understand what happens with their tax dollars and how that money gets allocated.
Jan Parks is part of the coalition that created Question One and believes the city is too frivolous with giving out incentives and wants the property tax money to go elsewhere.
The schools, the libraries, mental health, the junior college, with more funds than they get now.
But developers argue the incentives benefit the city in the long run by adding more to the tax base.
We have restaurants paying sales tax, 200 workers here now paying personal property tax, paying KC earnings tax.
It's not that we're anti-development, and we think back when they started reviving downtown, it was much needed, but we think they're to the point they shouldn't need that anymore.
Now, both mayoral candidates oppose question one. Now, this can get a little confusing. So a vote yes means you do want the cap. A vote no means you do not want a cap on those tax incentives. Reporting live in Kansas City, Missouri, Nick Starling, 41 Action News.